Good morning, everybody. Apologies for our slight technical delay, but as I said before, you can't keep a good queen down. Bit of a battle with the Zoom platform, Facebook, but we're back on track, and thank you so much for your patience with us. This was completely beyond our control, and I was just saying to my boss, my business partner, imagine if it was Zooming in the old days, I would have been in complete meltdown. But technology, and we're here now. We're ready to just hit it with this session. Queen's 30-day intermittent fasting challenge is gonna be the boom. I've been on it, and all I can say is it works. Yeah, it definitely works. So let's get things rolling. Let's get things moving. I say this every week. Have your pens, pads, notebooks ready. This is for the new, beautiful kings and queens on the platform, because you are going to be blown away by the wealth of information that's going to be shared this morning on the platform. Please post any questions into the chat. I'll try and pick up what I can, because my beautiful co-host Nadia is not around at the moment. We'll have a Q&A session at the end. And that's basically how we roll on a Saturday morning, normally 8 o'clock sharp. Yeah. But today it's just slightly delayed. So welcome everybody. Good morning. And thank you so much for joining us on the Queen's Zoom platform. Just to remind everybody, this session is being recorded and will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel, Queen's 2020 Lockdown Series. So check us out for the past Zooms. There's a wealth of information there. We've had some phenomenal speakers on the platform, brilliant, sharing their expertise and knowledge with us in the community. So let's kick off. We've had a series of Zooms. Last week we had a really, it was such a empowering, deep session. Queens, loving ourselves. And queens, there were some kings on the platform. It was an amazing, empowering. I know that when many of the queens left the platform on Saturday, they were ready to just fly. It was just so uplifting. We've done Queens Raw, another women's empowerment session, and brilliant, absolutely fantastic. We've done Queens Love, Sex and Relationships. And as you know, we've done the menopause. We've done Queens Being Crazy. It's some of the menopause. We've done so many different, Zoom-ins, and we welcome everybody to please visit us. Look out for what's been uploaded on the YouTube channel. You will be, and please share with others, like, subscribe, and please share with others. So we're going to quickly move on. Today's session, Queen's 30-day intermittent fasting challenge, and we have the man himself, King Joe Dash. Welcome to the platform, Joe. I know you're here. Welcome. Queens, are you ready for a life-changing transformation? Welcome to the Queen's 30-day challenge. We're going to be kicking off 1st of May, and there's loads of people who signed up already for this program. And I'm telling you, kings and queens, it works. Queens, we're keeping it real. With the consistent bombardment of unhealthy foods and traumatic eating disorders, we are about to elevate your well-being to a whole new level. Queens, it's time. And kings as well. It really is time to start living our best lives and start loving ourselves and putting ourselves as number one. So Queens, are you ready to improve the quality of sleep, remove parasites and increase gut health, get rid of stubborn fat? Would you enjoy a better mood? Do you want clearer skin? Up your libido? Stop random pains. If your answer is yes, stay on board for this morning's session, because you are going to be absolutely blown away. Joe, are you here? I've seen you, so I know you're here. I know you've been patiently waiting for us on the platform. So let's kick off with King Joe. So can you unmute yourself, Joe?
My apologies, Joe. My apologies, mate. My apologies. Unmute, Joe.
There we go. There we go. Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing?
I think they're on mute, but I'm sure they're all right. They've been here patiently. There's 109 patiently waiting for the message, Joe.
Exactly. So let's not waste any time and get straight to the business. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your patience. And some of you are familiar with my work and have been on the program, and you've seen exactly why this is very, very important. For the rest of the group that haven't been on the program yet, this is a very powerful program that's been constructed to kind of speak to us biologically and work with us and how we should eat, looking at our eating patterns, looking at how that affects our whole existence, from our mood, our intellect, how we feel about ourselves, and how we feel about others, because food is definitely an important part of it. So I'm very, very happy to be here to share my knowledge of intermittent fasting and why it's key in the community and how it can really empower us in many, many ways. So let's get started. So my name is Joe Dash. You can follow me on Instagram at joe.dash. I post a lot of information on tips of health, how to do certain things, how to eat food, what food groups you want. I'm a lecturer. I'm an author of the Melanin Effect book. I've been doing this for the past 15 years, experience in Black biology and what makes us work from a nutritional standpoint. I also touch on the psycho-spiritual effects of food. I'm also an intermittent fasting expert, especially when it comes to people of color. And I've also spent a lot of years lecturing, from working with the Center for Pan-African Thought all the way to SOAS University, to Queen Mary. I've been guest lecturers at different spots when it talks about melanin and the science and genetics of melanin. So this picture you're looking at was taken at the center before all this lockdown nonsense, when we were all gathering to reason about the biology of our people and how do we eat best for our optimal health. So what are we going to cover today? So we're going to cover what actually is health and being healthy, what is nutrition, micro versus macronutrients, and this is very, very key and essential to understanding our needs. Nutrition deficiency, where we don't have the correct nutrition, what tends to happen in our community? What types of food should we be eating? What types of food should I be avoiding? What is intermittent fasting? How does this benefit me? And how just 30 days of mindful eating will change your life. So just some basic stuff so we can start to introduce ourselves to the conversation of health from a holistic point of view. My first question I would like to start off with is, I want everybody to put in the chat just one word that sums up why is it so hard to be healthy. I want to see those chats. I want everybody to put one word in the chat that sums up their reason for why is it so hard to stay healthy, to be healthy, and what is that word? Just one word that just sums it up. I want to flood the chats with just, in your life, what is the one thing that's made it so hard to be healthy? Because we know as a community, we need to be healthy. We understand that health is wealth. We know the knowledge, but why is it so hard to execute that knowledge on a day-to-day basis? That is a key. I would love to see. That's it. Yep. Indeed. Let's just start with that. Right, so you can see that we've all been down this road, so many different reasons, and it's clear that we are aware, but something common, health literacy, being aware of exactly what our health is. There's so much more of these things, but what is the key thing is, I hear a lot of the time it's about time. Someone said psychological and emotional issues. Yes, that is key, and we're going to touch on that today slightly. So if you can't find time to be healthy, you will end up making time for sickness, is the framework I like to look at when I'm looking at the philosophy of nutrition and eating. We let our lives kind of interfere with the basic human nature of just trying to self-preservation, and affects us mentally as Black people is key. Time management is key. Discipline is also key. Health requires a set of discipline, right? So I want people to understand today is about understanding the priority eating and why it's so important, right? Now, something else we need to start with and start to understand is our current situation. This is just a basic outline of some of the top things of the death rates that are by chronic diseases, and cardiovascular is a big cause of death as far as diseases are concerned in the UK, followed by diabetes, then respiratory disease, high blood pressure. In years of doing my work, three of the biggest things that exist in Black community are the top three: cardiovascular, diabetes, and respiratory disease. That is rampant in our community. And why is it rampant? We're going to look at the cultural reasons. We're going to look at just social norms. We're going to look at exactly some of those things. I'm going to mention them in cahoots with what our program is today, because I think it's very, very key. And when I go into deep with food from a traumatic point of view, from a holistic point of view, and why it's key to be self-aware about our community's health and how that affects generations to come. So you can see cardiovascular is the top cause. And that really can be attributed to a bunch of things, whether it be genetics, whether it be environmental, but mostly we think it's to do with lifestyle and the way we eat, right? So another question I have for the group is African and Caribbean food healthy? What is our general perception of that? I want people to put yes or no in the chats, please. Is African and Caribbean food healthy? What is our perception of our cultural food? Because it's become the version of the food it's really very much tainted from a colonial view, but it's not indigenous. A lot of the African Caribbean food is now indigenous. It is now cultural, but it's not indigenous. So great, some really good responses here. Yes, no, combination of both. Yes, mostly. If you're African or African Caribbean, you live in the UK, you're more likely than people from other cultures to have certain health conditions, including high blood pressure, diabetes, and prostate cancer. This is also the case for some mixed race people of African and African Caribbean descent. Experts aren't sure why these conditions are common in people of African and African Caribbean origin, but they think it may be linked to diet, lifestyle, and different ways of storing fat in the body, right? And there's several ways to reduce this risk. The thing about African cuisine and Caribbean is that it's based around ancestral health, but it has been transformed into something from the oils we use to the amount of seasoning we put in it to the different carbohydrates we use, right? So now it is about, let's look at three simple things: oil, sugar, and salt. When we look at African food, or if you look about a typical Caribbean dish. So let's say you put oxtail, rice and peas, callaloo, or some steamed vegetables on it. White rice is a problem. When you look at the amount of calories, all these things, because it's dipped in industrial oils, and the amount of seasoning we put that's high in sodium that is damaging, then we start to see the picture for what it is. Intricately, the way we prepare the food is also key, because if we use the wrong oils, too much sodium in our diet, and we have too much sugar going on, this is the underlying factors of how we prepare our food, which means it is linked to the reason why we have high levels of high blood pressure, diabetes, and prostate cancer. If it's high and rampant amongst the Black community, our food is the #1 suspect. And if our food is healthy, our statistics should reflect that. But it does not. In fact, it reflects very much high rate of disease in the community, right? So the question is here is that, would you like to drastically improve your energy levels, immune system, brain power, skin condition, quality of sleep, weight loss result, and organ health in just 30 days? Because it does not take to one's own existence. It's a conscious commitment of living, which affects every aspect of our lives. If you're looking at the next 30 days, could be the same old thing. It could be slight differences. It can be a complete transformation where you really boost yourself forward. Because like the great Dr. Sebi said, you're eating to live or you're eating to die, right? So that's very, very key. So the key question becomes, what is health then? Because I thought I was healthy. I thought I was exercising. I thought I was doing certain things. Well, the general consensus from the World Health Organization, which came into effect in 1948, describes health as a state of complete. The key word here is complete. Physical, mental, and social well-being. This is what health is, right? This is exactly what health is. So it's not just about the absence of disease, because sometimes, you know, the way we've been brought up is if we're not sick, we're good, I'm fine, I haven't got no health issues. But it's also a mental, physical, and social. So it is emotional health, it is mental health, and it is physical health too, right? So some of the 3 definitions that the World Health Organization put out there for health is, the first thing is absence of disease or impairment. So you're able-bodied, right? That's the first thing. The second definition is a state that allows a person to thrive. Not survive, but thrive and manage the demands of daily life. So if mentally you can't cope or emotionally you're stressed, this is a lack of health. And the third definition, which is my favorite, is a constant state of balance one has achieved within themselves, also between themselves and their physical and social environment. Your ability to function in your world will determine how healthy you are on a holistic scale, because true health is holistic. It is not one part, right? So how do we fix it? How do we start to look at that? First, we have to define what nutrition is. We need to understand what nutrition is. Nutrition is made up of macro and micronutrients, which we're going to define in the next few slides. That is what qualifies something as food. Food is defined by its nutritional content. Food has 3 basic principles to sustain. Food has 3 basic principles. 1, to sustain, grow, and repair the entity that consumes it. So is chocolate, is crisp, is biscuit going to grow, sustain, and repair? When you dip food in industrial oils, is it going to grow, sustain, and repair? When we snack at 1 a.m. and we're eating a little nibble of this and we're nibbling that, is this food going to help our bodies grow, sustain, and repair? That is the key thing. So when you look at food, you got to look at it from a point of view, is it going to sustain, grow, and repair my cellular cells, my cells on this micro level? Is it going to do that? Is it going to give me energy? Because there's no point having a big meal and falling unconscious for the next 2 to 3 hours and napping. If you're napping after your food, you have to check if this food is exactly what it's going to be. So if it's going to be healthy food, because when we say healthy food, a lot of the time it is an emotional definition. It's basically looking at what food makes me feel good versus what food is going to nourish my body from head to toe. Food is something our ancestors looked at as something that's going to sustain and empower their life. In fact, it is tied to our spirituality. It is tied to our cultural science. Food has cultural, it has memory, it has significant symbolic meaning to the people based on their tribal or religious or cultural practices. So food has memory. This is why it was so important during colonial days to cut you off from your food, because your food brings back a certain kind of thought. When you eat cultural foods that you've been eating when you're growing up in the Caribbean or you're growing up in Africa, it reminds you, it is part of your identity. So it's important to understand we need to shift from what emotionally satisfies us to what is going to nourish the body. And sometimes it can be both, but that takes self-awareness and coming away from the conditioning, right? So you heard me mention micro and macronutrients. So what are these things? Because this is the 2 key principles when it comes to nutrition and health, right? So micronutrients, they are necessary only in very tiny amounts. They are also known as something called trace minerals. Nevertheless, micronutrients are essential for good health, and micronutrient deficiencies can cause serious health problems. And those serious health problems is called hidden hunger. Hidden hunger is when you deprive and starve your cells of proper food. Your cells don't recognize cake as food, neither does it recognize crisp, neither does it recognize alcohol, neither does it recognize all these junk food. And in fact, junk food, right, is an oxymoron because there's no such thing as junk food. There's either junk you're eating or food, right? Because food is based on what? The nutritional content. Junk is something that's void of proper nutrition. So therefore it's called junk because it's just junk to your body, right? So micronutrients include such dietary minerals like zinc and iodine, right? Iodine is very powerful for your immune system, your thyroid. Zinc is great from an antiviral point. It's also good for the heart valves and, you know, controlling many other immune systems in the body. You need it in small amounts, but it's very necessary for health and the function of your body systems, including from bone growth to brain function, right? So that's what micronutrients do. Macronutrients, right? So you have micro and macro. Macronutrients, as the name suggests, macronutrients are nutritional compounds that your body needs in significant quantities for daily functionings. The three macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. You also have macro minerals such as magnesium, calcium, and others that you need in big amounts. So when you're looking at your food, you got to start to look at, is this food going to impact my daily requirements? Because this food has mental ramifications and emotional ramifications. In fact, the food you eat can influence your thought, influence your mood, and influence your perception of self and your self-worth and self-value. Because you are what you eat is such an understatement, because you have to, one, form new tissues from the food you eat, and two, the food you eat influences mood. Because we can start to look at our community and realize a lot of the things that plagues us as well is the foods we eat, and those foods start to interfere with the natural order of our existence, right? One key thing, you know, the many minerals we're really much deficient in, but one key thing for people of color specifically is vitamin D, right? And now vitamin D really is a macronutrient for people of color, because you need vitamin D in large amounts. Why is it so important? Because vitamin D comes from the sun primarily. Vitamin D3 specifically comes from the sun, right? Your body will convert that into a vitamin D3, which is a fat-soluble vitamin that stores itself in fat. Now, for many of us that are plant-based, such as myself or vegetarian, we need to understand this. There's multiple types of vitamin D. But the key things we need to remember is vitamin D2 is something that is of plant-based origin. Vitamin D3 is something that's either you get from animal fat or you get from the sun. That's the only two ways you are dealing with vitamin D3. If you should happen to hear or find out vitamin D3 exists in something, in plants and stuff like that, it's probably going to come from an algae. But even that, the content is so low, it won't have enough impact on your body as a whole. So what does that mean? It means if you're a vegetarian like myself or plant-based like myself, you're going to have to supplement. And when you're supplementing vitamin D3, there is no vegan version of that. So vitamin D2 is something that's plant-based, and vitamin D3 is something that you get from either the sun or animal fat. So when you see vitamin D3 supplements, they are pulling it from animal fat, okay? So that's very, very key for us to understand. That's also a macronutrient, but because we don't get enough of it, like when the sun is out, I expect all of us to be getting a lot of sunlight today. Get out in the sun and get that vitamin D. It's very important for your development, for your immune system. It's a very important factor for your immune system as well. So what happens when we are nutrition deficient? Every chronic disease, every disease is linked to a deficiency of nutrition. Every, and I mean every chronic disease is linked to a deficiency of nutrition. That means if you're suffering from multiple things, let's look at some of these things and look at exactly what they are, right? So if you've had pale skin issues, fatigue, weakness, trouble breathing, which is respiratory issues, right? And that's something vitamin D3 can fix. Unusual food cravings, hair loss, periods of lightheadedness, constipation, sleeplessness, heart palpitations, feeling faint or fainting, depression, tingling or numbness of the joints, menstrual issues such as missed periods or very heavy cycles, poor concentration, to list just a few. But the list is way longer than this, I promise you. Has anyone experienced any of these things? Put a yes or no in the chat, please. Has anyone ever experienced any of these things? Or, you know, when I've run this program before, some people said I've experienced all of these things. But if you've experienced any of these things, what you are looking at is a nutrition deficiency, right? Now, in medical science, they'll look at diseases from an external and internal point of view. They'll look at it from, here's the symptoms that's linked to this disease that we've named, and here's the treatment for it. But essentially, that disease didn't develop overnight. It is over a prolonged time of starving the body of proper nutrition. And when we look at the cultural science of our nutrition, we start to understand that when we start to have those African food, whether it be fufu or this or that, when you have those white rice, potato, pasta, yams, dumplings, all you're looking at from a biological point of view is tons of sugar. When you look at white rice you're having for your rice and peas, or you're looking at the potatoes you love, the yams you love, your body sees sugar. You see yams, potato pasta, and all of that. Your body sees sugar. So now culturally, we're looking at a diet that's high, is a high glycemic diet, which means it's rampant in sugar. Let's look at our seasoning, right? All those all-purpose seasonings that we use is ran with sodium and sugar, right? Then if we look at the oils we're using, like I mentioned earlier, canola oil, which is also rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oils, all these oils that I'm talking about are industrial oils. They will cause havoc in the body. So when we look at culturally speaking, olive oil is not our go-to. Extra virgin coconut is not culturally out wide. Individually, sporadically, people may use it because we've become more conscious about health in certain degrees. But growing up, people weren't conscious or aware of the actual nutritional deficit that we were in. So when we look at how we even prepare the food, right? When you dip in food in industrial oils, you are just bombarding the food with free radicals. And if you're not familiar with free radicals, it is what causes oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress in the body is when you start to deprive the body of oxygen molecules. And that is bad. Why? Because it causes fermentation. It causes the body to go into hypoxia or acidosis. It causes other health issues. That's why you see you're bloated and you're feeling discomfort in your belly and all these kind of things. This is because the way you are eating, because it's about the quality of food and also the type of way you eat, which we practice on intermittent fasting. So all of these things you're looking at, it is a micronutrient deficiency, right? Heart palpitations, all these kind of things. So when the coronavirus hit, one of my biggest concern was we were not prepared nutritionally for something like that. That's why our statistics became very, very high. So when you start hearing the government and organizations talking about, the Black community and stuff like that, that they're high risk and stuff like that, we definitely are, because our statistics will reflect that. So we need to start to look and start to put our cultural foods on a microscope and look at different adaptations we can do. So like I said, there's 3 things I want people to start to look at. Is their oils that they use, the amount of salts that they're putting in, and the amount of sugar that they're consuming, because those things exist in almost every food product in the supermarket. You look at everything, sunflower oil, vegetable oil is in almost everything. They cause high levels of bad cholesterol in the body. They harden the arteries, they cause issues. This is why, high blood pressure starts to spike, all these kind of things, cardiovascular disease, because we're not exercising enough. We're not, bear in mind, I've had this conversation about steps and your 10,000 steps and all those kind of things. We need to understand something. Steps are great to maintain an active lifestyle. That's what steps are there for, to maintain an active lifestyle, to make sure that you get moving and you're making up your steps. But we have to do more than that, because one of the key things that is rampant and growing heavily in the Black community is obesity. Our percentage of obesity in our community is running rampant. It is too high, right? It means we are not being active enough, meaning we are not exercising, meaning you work up a sweat, not just necessary steps. Steps should be a daily thing you do, but you got to exercise and actually strengthen the muscles and all these kind of things that helps the body actually strengthen itself, boosting its immune system. And most importantly, it helps with your mental health, right? You develop something called brain-derived neurofactors, and those things help the brain function properly. These are the kind of things that keep away Alzheimer's and dementia. So people talk about things that are genetics when it comes to a lot of diseases that we're looking at. But realistically, what happens is epigenetics has taught us that you pass on the genetic markers for nutrition to your offspring. How they use that is a whole different thing. How they eat, how they live will switch on and off genes. So it is not a life sentence if you come from a family of diabetes. It's less to do with a hereditary problem and more to do with a dietary problem, because you can eat your way into good health, right? This is why I said, Dr. Sebi said, are we eating to live? Are we eating to die? But we have to look at these things. Remember, as a melanated individual, you require tons of minerals every day, not sometimes, it's not 3 days a week, daily. There's certain things you should be doing daily, right? But this ties into a whole holistic way of living: exercise, water intake, good sleep, stress-free. All of these things matter, especially where we're in the West, where that's all we're bombarded with is stress, demands, work, and all these kind of things. We have to start prioritizing health on a deeper level. So Joe, how do I do that? How does actually prioritizing my health look? Well, let's look at some, let's provide a structure first before we start looking at the actual content of the food, right? A balanced diet is also a very key and powerful way to start to remedy this, right? So let's look at the first step. The first step is let's start to look at a balanced diet. Why is that important? Because now we're going to start to look at how our plate should look. Remember, when you look at your food, this food is an extension, right, of your mental and emotional well-being. In the field of nutrition called nutritional psychiatry, we discuss and look at how Black traumas reflect in our food, how our experiences shape our food choices and selection, geographically, economically, and what our cultural norms are. Like if you come from the Caribbean, the food you grew up on. If you come from Africa, the food you grew up on. If you were born in the West, the food you grew up on. These things matter, but we need to look at how do we start to prepare our food in such a way that starts to take us to the right direction. The reason why I look at a balanced diet is like we're looking at the biology of what the body requires. The body requires healthy leafy greens, veggies, and whole grains and protein. It requires all of these things. Because I mentioned earlier, when it came to your macronutrients, your carbohydrates, your proteins and fats and stuff like that are key in your in what you need in large amounts, right? What you need in large amounts are those things, along with calcium and all those other things. But if you're having your leafy greens, for example, and you're having good sources of protein and whole grains, you will cover these things, especially healthy fats. You do need healthy fats like avocado and so forth, walnuts and so forth like that. You do need healthy fats. So half of your plate, this is the kind of, I want you to start visualizing your plate like this, right? No overflowing your plate, portion control, mindful eating, looking at exactly how much of my nutrition value is on my plate versus what's going to emotionally stimulate me. Your relationship with food should not be emotional based, because if it's emotional based, you will create a dependency and an addiction. Food can be an addiction. And once food becomes an addiction, you would depend on it. No matter what your problems are, your answer is definitely not in the fridge. I promise you that, right? And people that know me well know that I always say food is not your bae, meaning food is not your partner. It's not something you should commit to like that, right? It's something that is for nourishing the mind, body, and soul. That's what it's for. And when we start to develop a healthy relationship with food, which we do in the 30-day program, we start to see two major changes. One, your body starts to put itself in its right system. And two, you find out that the amount of food you eat was from an overconsumptious level. You do not need the amount of food you actually consume. Your body does not need that. Your body is a quality over quantity type of machine. So half of your plate needs to be veggies, leafy greens. Then a quarter of the plate should be whole grains, and the other side protein, right? Now your sources is very, very important, because if you're vegetarian and plant-based, you will be deficient in certain things, right? Such as vitamin A, vitamin D3, certain things like that. Iron, maybe at some points, if you don't know how to do plant-based and vegetarian properly, these things will become a problem. Hence why supplementation is key. Hence why having a better understanding of herbs and stuff like that can help top up the body's defense systems and help the systems run better. When we talk about whole grains, now it depends. Make no mistake, if you're a person that suffers from IBS or gut issues, then the whole grains and fiber conversation becomes slightly different, and we have to customize that, and it's best to see a consultant. But generally speaking, for able-bodied people, you need your whole grains, and fibers are an important part of your diet. Your protein source is very, very key. Whether it be you're using beef or meat or fish or chicken, whatever you're using, you need to understand exactly what your body requires best from these things and how often you should eat these things, which we go deep into the program. So I just wanted to offer this from an aesthetic point of view so you can see, does your plate look like this? Is it majority greens? Because I grew up in a culture where rice flooded the plate and veggies were a side thing. As I got older and went to go study nutrition, I realized it's the other way around. So when we've assimilated the Western diet, that's why we are suffering the consequences of that. Your biology was not based on the Western diet. You are based on greenery, That is what your biology is based upon. And when we start to look at what Dr. Sebi refers to as the alkaline diet, is looking at foods that are anti-inflammatory, because chronic diseases are based on inflammation. Inflammation is caused by junk. Junk is a result of traumatic extensions of the human mind and experience. When we are upset, we run to food. Even when we're happy and we're celebrating, I hear a lot of people tell me, you know, I had a bit of this week because I deserve it. It's all a social conditioning. When we start to come out of the Western thought and back into the Afrocentric thinking, our relationship with food will change, which will affect mental health in our community massively. Because the food you're eating tells a story. It tells a lot about the individual at that point in time. So if you don't come from a healthy family, let one come from you, right? That is what I suggest. So what food should you try to avoid, right? Let's go to the foods we need to avoid, because these are the things that if we start to make these micro changes, we'll start to see significant results, right? Carbs to avoid. In fact, before we go to white bread, white rice, there's actually a torture that has been used where they put a prisoner in a white room and feed them white food, right? White food meaning color and texture and stuff like that. We're talking about like actually just the color of it. So white rice, white bread, rice. Every food they eat is white. It's actually used to torture, which was kind of, you know, mind-blowing for me, because if you're using some people's everyday food for torture, what does that say about the food, right? So white bread, white rice, white potato, white pasta, white starchy foods, starch-based foods are a problem. So people say, you know, our ancestors eating yams for forever, you know, potato and all these root vegetables, you know, it's part of our culture. Actually, it's an adaptation we made being in hostile territory. It's an adaptation we made, right? Because a lot of root vegetables that we have now didn't really originate in these indigenous regions. We had to adapt to that, given the fact that we were fed poor food. If food was not significant, why did they go through all the trouble to cut you off from your food? Because it is a historical roadmap to who you are. Remember, your food is an extension of your identity. You identify yourself with your foods. And this is something we go deep into in the challenge as well. Oils to avoid: vegetable oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, which is actually rapeseed oil, and refined oils. All these refined oils, you need to avoid them. These industrial oils will cause problems in your diet. This is where a lot of our heart cardiovascular problems are coming from. This is where a lot of our high blood pressure is coming from. This is where a lot of diabetes is coming from, right? Now, the hardest one of them all is sugar, because we know what sugar means, right? That is the #1 addiction on the planet, is refined sugar. We need something sweet, right? And the more we crave sweet things, it's more in nutritional psychiatry. When you crave so much sweet things, it tells us that mentally, emotionally, you're not in the best of places. You are using sugary things to do the work that one needs to be doing within themselves, because that dopamine hit, we're like an addict for it. We need that dopamine hit, right? The same way we need the drug addict needs his fix, is the same way all of us, the sugar war is real. And refined sugars will ruin your hormones, ruin your immune system, you know, your brain functions will decline, all systems decline under the auspice of sugar. So when we look at sugar, you know, some people talk about some fruits have high sugar values. Yes, they do. There's high glycemic fruits and there's low glycemic fruits. But really, that is a concern for people that are pre-diabetic or have other health conditions related to sugar. Generally speaking, it is far more a better option than the snack and junk that we have, the ice creams and lollipops and all these confectionery and chocolates that we have. It is definitely a better substitute. So yes, in some of the conversation, it starts to, you know, find its own complex way, but in the simplest way, you need to manage your sugar intake. Keyword, just managing it. For those of you who are further along in your health journey, you need to minimize it, you know, to an occasional situation from a daily situation, okay? And that includes, you know, fried chips, crisps, all these kind of things. And refined meats, processed meats. Processed meats are the main cause of cancer, right? And other chronic diseases. So if you're eating hot dogs and all this pork and all those kind of things, if you to all my meat eaters in this webinar, I am telling you now, the way the meat is being processed is not the same as in the Caribbean and Africa. It is not the same, please understand. This food has decomposed, they have colored it, they have pumped water in it, they have done so much to it to make it presentable. That's when you buy a strip of chicken in Asda or Tesco's, try it and go fry it in your pan and see if it doesn't shrink to half its size. Right? You buy this whole pack of long strip of lean beef and chicken and you put it on that frying pan and that thing cuts down at least half its size because all of it was just water and hormones, right? So we need to see the truth about food. We need to unmask it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So all these processed meats are the main course. But if you are still, if you still enjoy your meat, then grass-fed beef is a better alternative. Grass-fed beef is far more a better alternative as opposed to processed meat, right? So it begs the question, what should we eat then? So, because you've taken off my whole fridge, right? Because half of the stuff I've stored is in everybody's fridge. So if I get rid of that, what do I eat? Well, there are tons of alternatives. Nature has always had your back. The closer you are to nature, the more healthier you are. The further you away from nature you are, the more sick you will become. It is simple as that. The closer you are to nature you are, the more healthy you are. The only health that exists is within nature. There is nothing else that's going to boost your immune system except for something that is natural. Because as a person of color, your melanin is your defense system. I'm going to say that again. Your melanin, not your white blood cells, your melanin is your key defense system. It is a genetic inheritance that you have taken on that is packed with power. How you have squandered or invested that investment is up to you. It's like anything passing on down, money or real estate or whatever. Your genetics, your melanin is a very special, rare gift. It has been passed on down. Now it's about how have we nurtured or invested in that gift for our mental health and biological health, right? So there's different carbs to use. Bear in mind, this is this can change based on your own health conditioning. So when I do consultations and I do run programs, when I do my one-to-ones, I break it down to what your health condition is. But generally speaking, lentil pasta, chickpea pasta, wild rice, brown rice, please understand there's no such thing as white rice. You're just looking at a bleached, processed version of it. People that love bread, sourdough bread, wholemeal oats are good alternatives, especially if you're coming from all that white food that I'm talking about. This is a great step in the right direction, but obviously you can be tailor-made to individuals' own experience and health conditions. There are other healthy oils to use: virgin coconut oil, virgin hemp oil, virgin avocado oil, you've got virgin olive oil. In fact, extra virgin is what I'll opt for. Refined oils, they take away the wholesomeness of the oil and kind of increase things synthetically and take out things that are also necessary part of nature's work. So you want to get extra virgin. If you can't find extra virgin, then virgin will suffice. But just those refined oils take away a lot of the holistic healing that's available. If you're looking at a more healthier protein source, yes, you've got all your legumes, your black beans, red lentils, chickpea, kidney beans, salmon fish, mackerel fish. Fish is definitely a much more healthier source of protein than chicken and meat and all these kind of things because it comes minus a lot of cholesterol and stuff like that. Fruit and veg should be daily. Fruits and veg should be a daily ritual, right? You should be making sure that you have your fruits. You should be making sure that you have your vegetables. You should be making sure that you have raw leafy greens. These things are essential to your immune system, essential to your cognitive function, essential to all facets of your health. So when people talk about, okay, what should we eat? These things are expensive. I'll tell you what's more expensive than that: being sick. Being sick is 10 times more expensive than that. And if you want to start buying a lot of the free from stuff and all these kind of things, the transitional diet into vegetarianism or plant-based diet can be expensive because if you're buying gluten-free stuff and all these kind of things, the prices can go up. But that's done intentionally because healthy food in this country has been economized for people who can afford it. They don't care about the rest of us or anybody who can't afford it. Health, that's how the system has done it. So when you grow up in these low-income housings and you grow up in these neighborhoods, chicken and chip shop, fast food shop, you're surrounded by it. It's only in the past 5 years we've seen a jump in whole food stores in these areas, or even by proxy. But you grew up in all, surrounded by all unhealthy facets of food. So food is done intentionally and been engineered intentionally not to go to people who are in low-income housing. It's not that's how they've intended. It's not for them. But Once we educate ourselves and understand that fresh greens and fresh fruits have never been expensive, you can go to the farmer's market, you can go to the guy that sells it for £1.50 a bowl. There are alternatives to that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there are alternative foods to eat. One thing we learn on the program is that your body is a quality machine, not a quantity one. So you don't have to be eating 4 or 5 times a day. And the time of day you eat definitely will impact your biology. But these are some of the stuff that we're talking about, all right? So you have to have daily routine and practices of fruit and veg. Make that the daily routine. The oils you use, change them. You know, you have Himalayan salt, Celtic salt. You have all great, you know, you have these 2 powerful salts that are much more better for the body and the electrolytes in the body, right? Water should be at least 2 liters minimum, right? Because a lot of people for years have not really drank a lot of water, and water's not been the staple of their diet. But trust me, you need water for multiple reasons, especially for cellular health, getting waste in and out of the cells, keeping cells fresh and healthy. You need water, right? You need water. It's very, very key. So in the midst of all these things that plague our community and the things that actually cause a lot of these health issues, what is the solution? How do we find the indigenous ways to eat? Well, intermittent fasting is the rebranded version that the Europeans have flipped back to us, but it's really based on your ancestral way of eating. Everything we did was tied to our religious and spiritual practices. When we eat was based on a synchronicity with the celestial, with the moon and sun cycle. When to have a baby, when to get married, when to build something, when to farm, when to do anything was based around our spiritual and religious practices. So our understanding of how melanin moves throughout the day is the reason why our ancestors ate a certain type of food group, and the timings they ate was very specific to their practices. So intermittent fasting is talking about a calorie restrictive diet that puts the human being in a space where it eats in line with our chronobiology, known as our body clock, right? The study of our body clock is called chronobiology. It's looking at everything in existence that's organic. Every living thing operates on the same type of frequency when it comes to the body clock. That's why animals hibernate. That's why they do certain things. The only people, living entities that do not follow the indigenous cycle are human beings. Every animal doesn't even think about it. They eat, they mate, they live in accordance to that indigenous cycle. And that's what intermittent fasting is about, because what we find is that when we start to eat at the right times of the day with the right quality of food, your body comes alive, right? Right now, a lot of us are nutritionally dead, and we need to come back from the grave and reinvent yourself completely. Some people have been told they're going to have to be on medication forever. Some people are on medication constant that they don't like. And some people don't even take their medication. And I'm like, what's the alternative? Because it's not going to get better by itself. You have to do better, right? So what does it look like? So let's look at what the basic thing of intermittent fasting looks like. The most popular one is the 12 to 8 theory. There's different ways of intermittent fasting. There's the 20-hour fast, there's warrior fast, dry fast, liquid fast. But the key thing that we use in our program is the 12 to 8 rule. The 12 to 8 rule means your eating window is from 12 midday to 8 p.m. at night is your eating window. Do not confuse that with eating for 8 hours. Please don't do that. I've had experiences when people try to eat as much as they can in 8 hours. Do not do that, right? It is saying if you want to feed your body's most opening and hours for feeding is best between 12 and 8, because your body is going through different cycles throughout the day, right? Your body doesn't want to deal with food in the middle of the night. It does not want to deal with food. That melatonin, right? That melanin derivative, that melatonin is responsible for almost every organ in the body. And it cannot work effectively if it has to deal with digestion. And bear in mind, your gut health is linked to everything. That's where most diseases start. It's linked to your mental health. In fact, you have a direct connection between your brain and the gut through something called a vagus nerve. So everything you eat sends signals to the brain on what to do. It's giving it information, right? Every food you eat is giving the body information, right? And you have to ask yourself, the foods we eat, what kind of formation is it putting your genetics in? Because you come from a line of healthy people and start to eat a certain way and create the genetic code to pass on to your children. So that's very, very key for us to understand. And just changing your diet switches on and off about all 400 genes. So we have to understand that when we're eating food, a lot more is happening than our emotional satisfaction. It travels deep into our genetic makeup and determines who we are. Because your serotonin, which is also a melanin derivative, which is also a neurotransmitter, which is responsible for your mood and how you perceive yourself and perceive others, your ability to connect, your ability to be angry, love, all these things are tied to your melanin's function. And if we do not start to understand what melanin is and how we deal with it, we will forever stay in this pathological sickness that is the Western diet. Even the Western diet is sick and tired of the Western diet. That's why the NHS is saying, oh, you know, have less alcohol, eat a balanced diet, because they're sick of it. Because it's just poisonous, it's high in sugar, industrial oils, and salt, all right? So what are some of the benefits? If I do intermittent fasting, what can that do for me? Well, you'd be happy to know when we eat, in fact, it's quite interesting because our ancestors, right? There was a guy called Dr. Arnold R. Hetz. Some of you might have heard of Dr. Arnold R. Hetz. Dr. Arnold R. Hetz is the author of the mucusless diet, right? The mucusless diet. You've heard Dr. Sabi talk about mucus, right? Dr. Arnold R. Hetz took a trip to Egypt and Morocco and started to study our people. The first thing that struck him was the absence of disease. He talks about this. And he looked around and realized the only thing we were doing different was in our diet. So all these things you're seeing on my screen were not in existence in our indigenous culture. Why? Because we ate according to our biology. So intermittent fasting, when you put yourself back in your indigenous format, things like cancer, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, which is very reversible, by the way. Heart disease, which is a massive problem. Obesity is on the rise. IBS is more common than I thought. Arthritis is more common than I thought. Even to the younger generation, I've got young people coming to me talking about their joints. And I'm like, you're falling apart at 25. This is a bad thing, right? Autoimmune conditions, fatty liver, infection, neurodegenerative diseases, depression, premature death, all these things are tied to our eating system. So we need to understand, we need to start to eat to nourish the mind, body, and soul. We have to understand you are people of the earth and you are solar beings. What does that mean? Your relationship to the sun is 10 times far more important because the sun is part of your diet too. Because everything that sun is giving you through something called biophotons, which is the quantum unit of light. You eat light essentially, not in the traditional way you put it in your mouth, but your body absorbs it and transforms it into something that works well with your biological system. So the sun is a big part of your diet. Because of your melanin, it blocks a lot of the sun out, so it makes it hard to create vitamin D, but that's why it means we need to be in the sun longer than our European counterparts. How long is long could vary from person to person, but generally speaking, it's about 35, 40 minutes to an hour, maybe, depending on what you are. A lot of light-skinned people in our community tell me, well, Joe, you know, I've gone on holiday and I had sunburn. What's that about? Well, the sun and me were friends. And I'm like, yes, but you have no chlorophyll or not enough chlorophyll in your diet, number one. And quite naturally, the more lighter you are, the less protection you have from the sun. That just makes sense, okay? Because if dark-skinned people were going to burn, the Most High wouldn't have placed us in the most hottest regions in the earth. Right? So God don't make no mistakes, right? So now it begs the question, how does 30 days of mindful eating can change your life completely? Now, these are just some basic, you know, thoughts I want people to start having in terms of habits, right? This is about habit and addiction. Consider the source of your food. Is it organic? Is it GMO? Please stop eating seedless anything, right? Seedless is the same. When I look at seedless food, I look at something that is godless. Seed is the proof of life. The seed in your fruit is the proof of life. Seedless fruits is the absence of life. So it will not help you in any way. Every fruit you indulge in needs to have seeds. If it doesn't have seed, how do they grow it? I'll leave that for everybody. Enjoy the experience of your food when you're chewing, when you're excited about this meal you just made. Focus on it. Question what you eat. Is this nutritious? Is this good for my body? Is this going to help me? Right? Avoid distractions, because it's much more fulfilling for the body. When you're focused on your food, you actually get more full up more, versus when you're distracted, you keep eating. And in our program, you start to learn about all the hormones that are responsible for your appetite and hunger, right? And melanin is a key factor in your appetite and hunger, right? Because you have hormones in your body that are anti-aging in their property, that are pretty much elixirs of life. They bring about a cleanse, if you will. They replace cells, keep you youthful, keep you energetic, and get rid of the chronic diseases that's in your body, right? Some people sit at a table. This is just about transitioning of lifestyle versus it being tied to necessary nutrition. But it's about, if you're trying to break habits, you got to do new things, right? Love what you eat. Of course, when you make food, the energy you put in it, the energy you put in your food is key. When you're making your food, first of all, I've never seen someone make food angry. I've just never seen that. And who wants to eat food made by an angry person, right? Drink water. It is key, right? Drink water. Don't rush. Chew your food. You know, get the flavors in and enjoy your food. Because obviously, when people hear about healthy eating, they just think, oh my God, you know, what's it going to be? It's going to be a bunch of leafy greens. Because people think I just drink water and eat bark. And I'm like, no, I actually eat proper food like everybody else. But I'm just more conscious of my biology and what my body needs. And I prioritize that. So the key is priority, right? So what's the benefits of healthy eating? Reducing stress, depression, and anxiety, which is plaguing everybody. Improve your mood, reduce weight, more effective digestion, reduce blood sugar levels, maintain a healthy relationship with food. Your relationship with food has to be based on what food can do for you biologically, not just emotionally. Right? You got to find a balance. That's why it's called a balanced diet. You want to eat good food, yes, but we want it to provide some sort of sustenance, right? So what, to the main question of today is, what does your 30 days look like, right? What does your next 30 days look like? I want anyone to put A, B, or C in the chat. So the next 30 days, because we always push things, right? You know, we always procrastinate. We say, you know, we're eating healthy. Some people don't even understand the science of actually eating healthy to no fault of their own, because we've all been conditioned, right? So some people think they're eating healthy, but are you really eating healthy? So what does the next 30 days look for you? Is it going to be a transformation of self? Is it going to be a renewing of self? You know, remember, we're coming out of lockdown soon. So how do you want to feel? How do you want to look? So is it A, you're going to do it, you're going to transform yourself in 30 days? B, stay as you are. No judgment on that. C, make mindful adjustments. Maybe both, maybe all three, who knows? But I want everyone to put in the chat, A, B, or C. What does the next 30 days for you look like? Are you going to still maintain the bloated feeling? Are you still happy with, you know, having been sleepless? Are you still coping with your joints? Is this the way you see yourself? And what does that say about how you perceive yourself and your self-esteem? Because how you eat tells us about your self-esteem and your mental and emotional well-being. It tells us where you are at with yourself. It tells us a lot about the relationship you have with yourself. Because people say, if I ask people, how many people love themselves, right? But if I go to your house and what you eat, would what's on your plate reflect the love you have for yourself? If we go to your house and we look at your food, does what you eat reflect the love and care you have for yourself, right? So what's it going to be? What does your next 30 days look like? That is a very, very key thing, because we are people that are very in tune with the earth. We're very in tune with that. We are ruled by the earth, sun, and moon. That is our connection. And that is a key part about how we manifest things. That's a key part about our quality of life and healing from trauma. Because also we can use food to help heal from trauma too, right? So that is the question we have to ask ourselves. For years of eating a certain type of way and eating this way and that way, what is the decision now? Because if we know we need to eat healthy as a community and change the statistics, we can't blame the government for looking at us as a statistic if we are contributing to that, right? So what we've put together is a special program that's been running for years that we have sought and perfected to help our people, right? So in our program that we run, There is one-to-one nutritional coaching every week for accountability. It's your chance to ask your questions. It's your chance to engage and really start to unpack your relationship with food and its nutritional value. We have our weekly Sunday webinars. For anyone that's been to that, know it's on fire. But the amount of knowledge that we're kicking is up 10 notches from what you heard today. What you've heard today is just an introduction to the concepts and ideas. When we dive deep into that dark matter consciousness that is the melanin you hold, you have never felt so empowered in your life until you wake that melanin up. This is what the ancient Egyptians spoke about in the Heru Emeketi papers, because you're talking about the Sphinx, right? Where you have the pharaoh head and the animal body. It is what our ancestors were telling us, that we must graduate from our lower vibration into our higher self. But you cannot do that if your melanin is asleep, right? So in our weekly webinars, we dive deeply into that. You get provided with a 30-day challenge guide that breaks down exactly a lot of the things I'm saying. And it is just a powerful, we've been running this, you know, people in the webinar right now that have done this program will testify to what I'm saying, right? Because the one thing you have to understand is that a lot of us in our position in the community, and that's why myself and the Queen's Group, Joan and Rudy linked up, is because of our care for our community, our passion for our people, our passion for the human beings in general, but also make sure that our people are not left behind. And we make sure we create things that work. And I promise you, it is a transformation in every sense of the word. And it's great because we have our WhatsApp group. You should see the frequency and energy, the foods, the laughter, the encouragement, the support, and we all cross that finish line together. So we have a special offer till tonight. If you book till midnight, we have to midnight to do this, to get this special offer. Why is it important? Because we always run out of space, and we want people who haven't had the challenge, or even people that want to revisit the challenge and get that new revitalized energy. This is the point to do it. You go on the melanineffect.co.uk, or you click the link in the chat. We're going to post the link in the chat with the coupon code to give you the discounts. So if you need that one-to-one support and you want to deep dive into the melanin elixir and how we get that biology to start working, then you want to get into our VIP program. If you're a bit more advanced and you think you can handle it, then get the deluxe. That is, oh, I can't even see it here. This is blocking it. Okay, let's just do like this so you can see what I'm doing. Right, so yes, so if you want to if you're already a fitness buff and you've got your food down pack and you just need some information and support, then we have the deluxe version that is normally £107, but till midnight tonight, it is £85. But if you want to really get deep down, diving into the holistic traumas that is our diet, jump on our VIP package. And trust me, we have run this program. There's some women in this live right now that can really speak to what we are talking about. And that is our pride and joy.
Back, Joe, because it's,
sorry?
Can you enlarge your screen back, darling? Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
There we go. So,
yeah,
this part was covering the other bit. Yeah, so this is just the format of what we're doing. So yeah, so I'm open up to questions, man. Let's have a conversation. I'm here for the people, you know, and that's what the Queen's Group is about. We are here to support each other and create a new narrative for our health. So thank you, everybody, for your attention. I'd like to thank Rudy and Joan again for always inviting me to this platform. I always feel privileged to be among such great people that are passionate about our people the same way I am. Thank you for taking the time. I know we had a stumbling today. It's not easy to do what we do, but your support and your patience with our people is key, because that's how we heal. You know what I mean? I know people had busy stuff today, but we do appreciate it on every level. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, thank you, Joe. And, you know, when you came on the platform back in, I think it was November, when we first got encountered, you just blew us all away just to hear about somebody talking about diet and lifestyle, but from our melanin perspective. It was powerful.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, back in December, January time, I woke up one morning and I thought to myself, I want to try this, you know. I mean, I've done fasting before, but on this level, this is a whole, you know what I mean, you can different sort of mindset and a different journey. And I thought, let me try this, because I'm always one for trying things.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, I ain't doing it again. But you know what? I've been on the challenge with you, and I'm telling you, it has been an absolute incredible journey. I'm not just saying it because I mean, if I'm going to talk about something, you know, and encourage others, I need to be in the mix as well. I want to go on the whole journey and just experience everything with everybody else, the highs and lows, the cravings, you know, and being exposed to a whole new realm of different foods that you can eat, different ways in which you can eat and nourish your body. So it really is uplifting. People say, why have you got so much energy? Well, I'm always kind of high anyway, you know, but you know, when you get on a journey like this, it gives you the energy, it gives you the drive, you sleep.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it's a whole holistic approach, and people must remember it's not a diet. So when you come on this thing, it's not about dieting, it's about lifestyle.
Absolutely.
About sleep, you know, drinking the water. And I mean, let me backtrack a bit. People know we are a walking group. Yeah. So this is how the whole thing started. We are a walking group, Queen's Walking Group, created last June. And even though we've done loads and loads of different topics, we are really predominantly health focused.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've shown us the stats. Our community is in a crisis. Absolutely. So we really need to kind of like, you know, grab the bull by the horns and, you know, stop kind of like brushing it under the corner. Don't wait till you get sick. Yeah, don't wait till you get sick to try and find that intervention. Try and do things now, you know. And as I said, we've had some amazing people have come on the journey. And I mean, okay, weight loss is part of it, because once you start eating proper food, all the, you know, your body detoxes, it cleanses, and all that excess that's in your body will pass out. So I have one question. Somebody called Jamila. And you might have answered it already because I've been in the background trying to sort out the technical difficulties. So we are now live streaming on Facebook with that. So that's working. So Jamila was asking, what is the impact of sunscreen on vitamin D? Can you wear it and still benefit from being in the sun?
No, because the whole point of the sunscreen is to literally block the sun out.
Okay.
So no, if you know, the reality of it is that, you know, the quality of sun is definitely different, varies from your geographic region. But in the UK, if you wear sunscreen, it's there to block the sun. And if you're wearing something that blocks the sun, you can't make enough vitamin D.
Okay. And somebody put in the chat about yam being healthy.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Put this way, you got something that's a starchy carbohydrate like yam, right? It's a root vegetable. It's starchy. Biologically, starch is an artificial binder. When you have white potato or white yams and stuff like that, your body breaks that down into huge amounts of sugar. You see yams. This is why I keep saying what you see and what your body experiences can differ. White yams, if you live off white yams, you add on weight, you can cause diabetes, because that yam is broken down into tons of sugar. When you're saying something is healthy, we're looking at its function and process in the body and how your body reacts and interacts with that molecule. And if it breaks it down, right, to just pure glucose, it's a problem. Remember, it's supposed to repair, grow, sustain cellular life. Sweet potatoes can definitely be a better alternative. However, depends on your condition. If you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, then my conversation will change completely. Yellow purple yams are much more better alternative. But once again, depending on your condition, it can change dramatically. But yes, yellow and purple yams are far more better and far more closer to the indigenous yams. But that white and yellow one, I'm telling you, it will break down into your body in a whole different way. It is our cultural norm, but it is not our indigenous culture.
You hear it? Yeah. This is the reality. This is the reality. I've got Jin. She was saying most fruit in supermarkets do not contain seeds.
She's right.
Can anyone suggest reliable sources of organic fruit and veg, ideally in North London? But I have a problem with that. I mean, I've completely stopped buying grapes now because I can't understand how you can buy grapes and there's no seeds. It don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense. So I've completely stopped buying it because I can't find any with seeds. So
yeah, so, I go to the farmers market. I go to the local shops that have the fruits out on the, you walk past those shops where I think it can be black owned, Asian owned, but they always have the fruits outside the shop. Yeah. And they get it from the farmers market, so they're a good option. They're a good alternative as well. There's a lot of whole food stores that sell fruits and so forth. Some supermarket branches do have seeded grapes and seeded things like that. You know what I mean? So it's not all of them. Some of them do, but it is very difficult to find, and you're better off just spending time at the local food markets and things of that nature. That's where you're more likely to find organic, or the turkey shops as well. Someone said turkey shops. They have a lot of the indigenous kind of organic fruits and stuff like that. Some Sainsbury's, some Tesco, some Asda's do seeded grapes and seeded stuff like that. But it is definitely hard to find. I definitely agree. It is challenging. Because agriculture is a massive thing, and the people that control agriculture in the West, you have to understand, like, this is barren land. They have to import soil. They have to treat the soil. They have to do so much to it.
Not good. I've got YV in the chat. So she said that she always naps after eating potatoes or yam. That's not good.
For sure. It depends and what's your quantity as well. How much of it you having is a whole nother key. But there's a psychological aspect to this, and this is what we've covered in the program every month. My first webinar breaks down the food system and how you fit in it. From a cultural point, from a socio-economical point, we need to understand that our food for our biology rests in these indigenous regions, the highest quality of it, should I say. But being in the West, we have to make massive adjustments because we won't survive the next 30, 40 years on health. And what does the new generation going to do if they assimilate the way we eat now? Then we can project what the next 30 years is going to look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not good.
You got some hands off. iPhone, I don't know who iPhone is.
Well, now, we can change the narrative.
Yeah, for sure.
We can change the narrative. So people really have to kind of like wake up and don't wait for the sickness to kick in. Right, I'm going to take a couple of questions, and we've also got a couple of people who've actually been on the program when I started back in February. So I'm going to call Bernice Gale in a bit and Marcia Johnson. So I'm just going to take questions, and it's about keeping it real. People who've actually been on it talk about their experience. It's not about us really selling the program. I really want people to change their lifestyle and start eating healthily. So iPhone, I'm going to lower your hand. If you just come on camera, say where you're calling in from, what area you're in, if you're in the UK, and you can ask your question to Joe. But iPhone, are you ready? Can you come in, darling?
She's working out.
Hello. Is that me?
Where are you?
Is it me?
Are you in the gym? Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, I am. Right, I've got two questions at the minute, whilst I remember. So one lady asked about the rays, about the sun, wearing sunscreen, right?
Right.
So when you put sunscreen on, it blocks out the harmful rays. You still burn. You not burn, but you still get your skin goes brown, right? So are you saying that the vitamin D3 that we get from the sun are within the concept of the harmful rays?
No. So it's a conversion. So your body's a great converter. So what you're getting from the sun is what they call biophotons. And those biophotons get converted, right? Your body will kind of convert them into vitamin D. It will convert the cholesterol in your body to a lot of vitamin D. So it's about a conversion. But when you put sunscreen on, it just makes it difficult because your melanin already means you need to be in the sun a lot more longer. So if you add sunscreen on top of the melanin, it just makes it more difficult to get a certain amount, and you have to stay out. So there's only one ray of sun. It is harmful if you do not have melanin. Melanin specifically, because everybody has melanin. So if you don't have the melanin, which is what me and you have, and the rest of us have, then it's very much more harmful because it damages DNA. But that melanin around it will will kind of protect the DNA and convert the sunlight. It's about a conversion system. But when you add sunblock, it just makes that process much more tedious and hard for the body.
Harder. Okay, I get you.
That's for sure.
And the other question is, does the time that you go to bed in the evening, does that make a difference to the 12-8 concept? I mean, can you move the time frames? Like if you go to bed at 9 o'clock.
When you go to, I mean, the time you go to bed, as long as it's not like 1 a.m. in the morning, 12 and stuff like that, it's just much more better for the health to go to bed between 10 and 12. You know what I mean? If you go at 9, it doesn't really make a massive difference. The key thing is when you go to bed, is there food in your stomach? You know what I mean? And then that melatonin, what it wants to do is increase things like human growth hormones, which is a key factor in repairing the body. But when you got food in the body, it means insulin is being released. And if insulin is being released, you can't produce a lot of human growth hormones. So insulin and human growth hormones are on a pendulum. The more insulin you have, the less human growth hormones you're going to produce. The human growth hormones is what you're stimulating now by working out. And that human growth hormone is what replenishes the body, keeps youthfulness, keeps the body strong. It's doing all of that. But if it's got insulin floating around, it cannot come out. And that insulin is a result of having food in your stomach at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. So that's the better way to put it.
Yeah. Because my thing is, on my days that I go to work, I tend to have my porridge on the way to work at about, say, 8:30 in the morning.
Right.
And I go to bed quite early, about 9, half 9 nowadays, right? But on the days that I work out, sometimes I don't have my breakfast until like 12, 1 o'clock. That's my breakfast. And that's a regular thing that I do. So I'm just wondering whether I should, on my days working, perhaps like not have my breakfast, or just do my first half of my day and perhaps have my breakfast at lunchtime. I always have porridge. So I'm thinking that might be a better option for my body, for my system.
I mean, from a structural point, yes. From a structural point, yes, it will. But there's definitely much more higher qualities of food to break your fast with than porridge. I guarantee that. There's way more better options. Because porridge is a lot of people's favorite, and it's like I have to always kind of tell the truth about it. But the truth about porridge and stuff like that is like, nah, not for the black men and black women. That's not what your body wants at all. It's sugar. Again, it's just sugar. So, and that's why they say it's a slow release. But you have to bear in mind, the biological nutrition we have been accustomed to was founded on European biology. Just like weightlifting, that's German engineering for the body. It is not African in its essence. We never lift weights. So you have to understand that we've been looking at health from a Eurocentric point of view. Health from an Afrocentric point of view has to do a lot about how we combine food with movement and how we put the two together and how we time ourselves throughout the day to do that. That's why working out in the morning is far more effective than working out in the evening. It's far more effective. Your body's in a place where it's utilizing energy far more efficiency than it is in the evening where your metabolism is slowing down. So it really does, and it varies from person to person. Bear in mind, like there's a lot of mixture in our gene pool, so it's not as straightforward as that. But on the program, we start to really unpack these things from a peripheral point of view, because I want to separate my people from the European thinking of health into indigenous thinking, which are two separate things completely.
Okay. You're on mute now, darling.
Appreciate that. That's a very good question.
You got one more question. Unmute yourself then. One more, because we've got other people that need to ask. Unmute yourself.
So just out of interest, right? Because I've eaten porridge for 10 years, yeah? What would you suggest? Just don't, without the science behind it, what would you suggest that I have for breakfast?
Join the program and you find out. Can't give you everything now, can I?
Okay, let's go for the next question now. Jules, Queen Jules.
Yes, Queen.
Unmute yourself, my darling, and
unmute, yeah, you got to mute.
Where you're coming in from. I can see your beautiful smile on camera, Queen. Well,
good morning,
I know all of that melanin.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, sister. How you doing?
My question, I've got two questions, Joe. First one, coming from Ghana, chocolate is literally in my blood. I live for it. I have kind of switched the kind of chocolate I'm eating. So I tend to go for darker chocolates, the 70–80%. Is that still bad for my diet, or?
How often are you eating it?
I do my little trick because I love chocolate so much. I put it in the fridge, so it's harder to break pieces off. But I'm not having it every day now. I was literally having it every day. So I will have it as and when I feel like having it. So it maybe once a week.
It depends on the frequency of it. So it depends.
Okay.
If it's weekly, that's a much more better effective way, because dark chocolate can be very useful. But the problem is with a lot of dark chocolate that they sell commercially, they heat it up.
Okay.
And when they heat up and process it, it loses a lot of the nutrition behind it.
Right.
So when I went into, because of, a lot of my clients were diabetic, I had to start, partnering and creating chocolate that was non-heated, that maintained all the cacao nutritional value that was in it, using stevia and things of that nature that don't spike blood into. But when they actually create chocolate, they heat it, and that's the problem. So in theory, yes, they can legally say it does this, that, and the third, but their processing of it make it so minimal. So, but it still does have some benefits, but it depends. If you're having it weekly, it can have some benefits, but if you're going to have it every 2-3 days, then I don't think.
So is it better to have cocoa nibs then, rather than
the organic one, the unheated one? Yeah, the raw one. Yeah, the unheated one is definitely a better option. But yeah, it depends how much sugar they put in it as well, how they prepare it. High sugar levels can disrupt hormones, brain function, immune system. So our taste for sugar needs to be under control, because it's spinning all that amazing melanin you got going on out of control, and we need to keep it that way, because black don't crack unless you smoke.
Amen to that. Okay, so I thank you for that. My other question is, you mentioned before about I've cut. I'm more plant-based now.
Right.
I changed my eating habits for health reasons. And you mentioned before about how if you eat meat, if you're back home, whether that's Africa or the Caribbean, it's better for you to eat meat, or I didn't quite understand what you were trying to say about diet then.
So what I'm saying is that I'm aware that everybody's in different parts of their health journeys. For some people, they want to transition to eating less meat and just kind of nibble with fish or a few other things. So I was speaking directly to the people that enjoy their beef and their meat, and just giving them the healthier option. That the way they process meat in this country is very harmful for the body. Yes. So if you still enjoy your meat, and that's where, because we have to meet our people where they at, you know what I mean, and say, listen, if you're in the space where you still enjoy your beef, grass-fed beef will be the better alternative, because even that, as long as you're not excessive of an ounce a week, I think it's something like that, then you're kind of okay, and it can be a good protein source. But that's basically what I was kind of referring to. So
can I be very cheeky and ask one more question, please? What is your take on, because I'm vegan dairy at the moment. What is your take on
vegan
that?
Dairy? I don't even know what that means.
Well, I'm plant-based dairy, basically.
I don't even know what that means. How do you use plant-based dairy?
So basically, any dairy that I'm eating is gonna be. I will have. I won't have milk that's animal milk. I won't have cheese that's animal cheese made from animal. Okay. Things like that. So
the question is now, what do I think about plant-based dairy?
Yeah. Would you say it's processed or over-processed?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It's definitely processed. It's definitely. There's transitional food, and there's food that we should be eating daily, which we'll also cover on the program. There's food that are transitional purposes only, but not for you to live off. You know what I mean? Right. So yes, almond milk, oats milk and things like that are amazing alternatives if you're transitioning, but I wouldn't stay on it for too long, or I would make my own at home. Because you can make your own cashew milk and all that oat milk. You can just go on YouTube and do that. There's so much, and you're better off making it yourself. Because if you look at the ingredients at the back of them, oats is one thing, and there's like 20 other things that have nothing to do with oats or nothing to do with almonds. So that's what we want to avoid.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Jules.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So to recap, Joe, the website. So can we give out the website address?
Yep. We've been posting it.
And to book. So it's the Melanin Effect, and to book, to get the discount code, depending on which one that you choose, whether it's the VIP or the deluxe. So is it the same code? It's not the same code.
No, it's not the same code. So if you want the deluxe, that's what we haven't put in.
Well, if we just give both codes.
Yes.
So the Deluxe is 30-day VIP.
No, it's 30-day deluxe for the
Oh,
deluxe.
30-day deluxe. So if we just
Yeah.
make that clear. So there's
So
two
I'll do
different
that.
packages. Yeah, but if you want the one where you're going to get that one-to-one session, it's weekly, isn't it? Is it a weekly one-to-one?
Weekly.
Yeah, with the weekly, and I mean, I've done it. And it's, you know, and I mean, I was at the stage where I remember when I was kind of like really doing it, and the Sunday all day green juicing. That was my plan. So it's important for people to know that when you're on the program, you're gonna have an individualized plan. Yeah, because once Joe sits down with you via Zoom and he starts to get into your emotional eating and what's been going on from childhood while you're at this stage, you're going to have a really, really good individualized eating plan that is reviewed on a weekly basis. So I'll tell you, King Joe, when he starts, he's not ramping. He's so passionate about
Definitely.
Yeah, because for myself and even for Rudy, you know, we care about our community, and that's why we even do the Zoom sessions.
For sure.
We do the Zoom sessions, everything's free because we're just giving back, and we want our community to be healthy. We want the longevity to be there. And it's amazing how fantastic how we've got the queens involved. We want the kings especially to come on board with this. So we've got a couple of hands raised. We're going to be ending soon, 10:13. Right, Patricia. Good morning, Patricia. Could you put your camera on, my darling, and let us know where you're calling in from, and welcome to the platform. Are you there, Patricia? Can you hear me? You there, Patricia?
Could you not hear me?
You've got echo. You've got something else on, my darling.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. Could you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Wonderful. Welcome to the platform. Where are you calling in from, my darling?
Yeah, I'm from Hammersmith, West London.
Oh, welcome, welcome. Is it the first time?
No, I've been quite a few times.
Oh, wonderful. Lovely to see you. First time you're going to talk to us on the platform. So what's your question, my sweet?
Yeah, I've got 4 short questions, if that's okay.
Hey.
I like you said 4 short questions.
Go for it.
Let's fire.
On the media right now, they're talking about the endemic is really bad in India.
Mm-hmm.
And what I understand, a lot of the rices that we eat come from India.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because they're burying so many dead people in the soil and everything, I'm wondering, will that have an effect on the quality of rice that we eat from India right now?
No. The quality of the rice is based on how they cultivate it. In fact, when you're buried, you become compost for the soil. So it's actually a good thing. The disease dies along with it, so it doesn't survive enough to get into the food or nothing like that. So it's more about how they process the food, are they putting pesticides on it, what's the quality of the soil. Those things are more directly linked to the quality of the rice, but not necessarily if you're buried and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. And you know, when you say sunlight, as we don't really have a lot of sunlight apart from certain days, does that actually mean daylight when we're living in England? Daylight is what we go by rather than sunlight?
That's a good question. To be honest, no, we need the actual sun beaming. We need the rays of sun, the one that you can feel that heat. And that's what we need. Because it's the West is a very weird place in terms of the UK specifically, because it's the place where the sun's clearly out in the sky, but it's cold. It's like, I don't understand how that works. You know, if you come from the Caribbean or Africa, there's no way the sun's out and it's cold, right? So it is the quality of it. So not necessarily daytime. Daytime in itself is not enough to give you vitamin D. You need to be underneath like that ray of sun to get the most vitamin D. You know what I mean? So I think it's more to do with the sun rays than it is to do, especially for us, it's definitely more about sun and heat.
Okay, so that means we're not going to get much vitamin D.
Well, summer's coming up, so I'm hoping we see more Black people tanning. So hopefully we see more people outside getting those rays of sun, definitely.
Yeah, need to be out there sitting in the sun.
Yeah.
What's your third question, darling?
Yeah, I'm starting to get a bit of hair loss, and I'm thinking, is that sort of because of I'm not eating properly?
Not necessarily. It's not as simple as that. So it depends. With things like that, realistically, it would have to be on a consultation basis. There's so many variables that I won't be able to give you a generic answer. It could be hormones, menopause can do that, genetics can do that. It can be a mixture of things. So to be honest, I can't give you a direct to say it's this. We have to compensate for it to be accurate enough. Because for different people, it's different. For some people, it's just a nutrition deficiency sometimes. But mostly with hair loss and stuff, it's genetics that has more of a play to do with it as well. But there's things you can do, definitely. But to say the cause specifically as to your question, there's too many variables.
But can not eating properly have one of the reasons?
Depends, because some people haven't, like I hope you might find out, eat nonsense and have full head of hair at 60. So it really, the actual answer to that is it's very specific, and it is reliant on genetics. That is actually the answer to it. So it depends. For some people, we could use nutrition to fix it, and some people you can't. It's just hereditary.
Yeah. And then the last thing, as far as I can remember, I don't really eat breakfast, because when I was growing up, it always used to make me feel sick and everything, so, and usually it affects my stomach. But what I always do is drink coffee, in the morning, and then I start eating about 11, 12-ish. That's how I've always lived. But I'm thinking to myself, in terms of when you talk about intermittent fasting, is drinking coffee in the morning breaking the fast for the 12 o'clock feed?
In our program, I don't really recommend coffee on our program. But generally speaking, that's not a bad thing. But if it's caffeine, I have a problem with caffeine, and even decaf, the way they process it is slightly a problem. I do urge people to go more into herbal teas than coffee and all these kind of things. Organic coffee that's not really been processed can be useful, I guess, in some places, but it really does. On our program anyway, we don't use coffee in the morning because that caffeine draws a lot of nutrients out of the body. So we don't really use that because we want optimal health on the program. So from a program perspective, no. Generally speaking, it just depends how much coffee are you having per day. Is it daily? Then no. I don't think coffee should be a daily thing. I think it causes more problems than it solves. You muted.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the 4 questions.
That's 4 questions, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got sorry, you're muted. We can't hear you. You're muted, darling. You're muted.
I would encourage her to go on the course. Thank you very much.
Right, so we've got a couple of more questions. Abini Maroon, where are you, my darling? Are you there, Abini Maroon? You had your hand up.
Yes, I'm just trying to unmute myself. Good
Oh,
morning, good morning.
Where are you?
Just a quick, very quick question. Sorry, I'm not appropriately addressed.
Okay.
It was just a quick, very quick question for Joe.
Yeah.
In relation to the webinars on Sunday. I just wanted to know whether it's morning or afternoons, just to get an idea of whether it would work with my current schedule.
Oh, the webinars is every Sunday at 9 p.m.
PM.
Yeah.
PM, yeah. So
Perfect.
the webinars are every Sunday. Thank you for that question, actually. Something we tend to forget, but it's a very good, important question for people that have working schedules. Our webinars are Sundays at 9 p.m. The one-to-ones would be allocated. If you're doing one-to-ones with me, they'll be mostly during the day. Or I will try to accommodate some weekends per se, but mostly will be during the day. Around lunchtime and stuff like that. But for the most part, the big webinar of it, I mean, the WhatsApp group's open anyway. We'll have times where people can be in it. But for the most part, yeah, the webinar is definitely on a Sunday. I try to put it out of the way as possible. And it is recorded. So if you do miss a webinar, you will be sent the video.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any more questions? Can take 1 and 2 more questions. What I would like to do is, Bernice, are you on the platform, darling, still? Let me just have a look if you're still here. Yes, Bernice. Bernice Gale, are you there, sweetie? Can you unmute yourself? And I'm calling Marcia Johnson. Are you on the platform? Or if there's any queens that have actually been on the program that could quickly come on, say a quick hello and just talk about their experience.
I'm here, Joe. Marcia.
Hey, Marcia, how are you? Good to see you.
Guess what? I've been waiting all this time and now the postman's just come. Talk to somebody else. I've got to deliver.
Well, if Bernice is there, that would be good. Are you there, Bernice?
Is he there?
Is there anybody else who's been on the program who'd like to come and quickly? Right, can you unmute Bernice, please, Rudy? Because she's come in the chat, she can't unmute. Bernice Gale?
Okay, I'm looking for you, Bernice.
It's all good and well me talking about it. I mean, I've done it, but it's really good to hear about other people. You know, what was life like before, you know, coming on this journey of intermittent fasting. So I've been doing it. We did it February, March, and we're going to be kicking back off on the 1st of May, and I'll be in it with you guys. Yes.
Bernice, unmute yourself,
Yes.
please.
Yes, I've done it.
You there, Bernice?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much.
And I can't see you. Oh, Marcia, you're back. Right, so let's do Bernice first. Right, come on, Bernice, darling.
Right, you won't be able to see my face, but you'll just see my name.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Right, thank you so much, Queen Joan and Joe. Joe, it's absolutely a pleasure to be on that 30 days emission. It was just a challenge. First of all, I thought I was extremely healthy. I went to the gym at least, let's say, 4 days a week. So I was really doing the work, as I said to Joe on my one-to-one. And so eating, I felt that I was eating properly as well. In fact, I wasn't. So hence going on the 30 days challenge, which Joe actually gave me some things to work on in terms of what I must eat. I was eating yam every single week. And Joe said to me, Bernice, you've got to stop it. And believe you me, I'd stopped it. And it's absolutely a godsend. And also in terms of sleeping, my sleeping habits, I used to go to my bed really, really late. And the other thing that I've learned whilst being on the challenge as well is to drink a lot. I usually drink a lot, but yeah, Joe has actually said to me to drink a lot. Also, I was having green smoothie, and an herbalist told me that I can add fruit juice into it. And Joe was saying, well, it's got loads of sugar in there. Why don't you just try and put an apple in there? And I'll tell you, that has really worked. In terms of the vitamin D3, that was awesome. I spoke to Joe about it. I've been to my doctors, had blood tests, and everything is just absolutely amazing. Thank you for that, Joe. My doctor said you haven't got diabetes. Well, I knew I haven't got diabetes. And my D3 level, all my vitamins, they are just on top. So thank you so much. Walking, I do that. I must say, I don't do it every single day, but I do my squatting, as I say to you, Joe, I do that consistently, my squatting at home and all of that. But yeah, what else can I say? It's been a healthy journey. I haven't stopped. I'm still doing it constantly. Every so often, I must probably dip in, have like a piece of bun or something. And do you know what, Joe? It does my head in. And I said, no, I cannot be having that at all. So yeah, anything out of my range, it does something to my whole body. So yeah, I'm really listening to my body. Thank you so much. And also your book is a plus. And your diary, I'm writing in your diary every single day, especially quotes. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing. And yes, I do. And yes, I do a journal every day, as I spoke to chapter on our one-to-one. But yeah, you've been a godsend. So
Thank
I
you.
recommend
Appreciate that.
people to go for it. Go for it. Do it. It's worth it.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you.
And that's what it's about. You know, we can sit upon this platform and talk about how good it is, but there's people, you know, when I thought about doing this back in January, and I thought, let me see if anybody else wants to come with me. I mean, there were 60 of us. I thought, whoa, you know, but 60 powerful queens taking their health in check. And that's what needs to happen. Marcia, beautiful Marcia, come and talk to the people on the queens and the kings on the platform about your journey and what it's like being a queen in March on the Intermittent Fasting Challenge.
Yeah,
Well,
good morning. Hi, Joe.
Where are you based, darling?
Watford.
Ah, Watford. Okay, welcome, Watford.
Well, transformation, it was indeed for me. That's all I can say. When I decided to go on it, I thought, really? Can I start eating at 12 o'clock? Oh my goodness. What am I going to do between the time I get up at 7 till 12? Gosh, that was going to be an issue. That was my big thing. I thought, I'm a grazer. I know I'm a grazer. I'm not a foodie, but I'm a grazer. I'll pick at anything. Biscuit, you name it. Biscuits is my thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Anyway, I decided to do an exercise class in the morning and go out for a walk. And somehow the time got filled up. I didn't even realize when 12 o'clock came.
Oh,
so that was good for me. Smoothies, I had smoothies anyway. That wasn't a problem. But it was just wait until 12 o'clock. Drinking 2 liters of water, I barely drank a glass a day.
Wow.
So 2 liters was initially, the first couple of days, it was a struggle. But, you know, I've got one of those things that tell you to drink every so often. So I was drinking. And then after a couple of days, I didn't even realize that I was drinking 2 liters of water. And it's like, oh, okay. I realized because I kept going to the toilet. But, you know, aside from that, I was doing it and I was like, right, okay. And what I did at the beginning, and I don't recommend everybody do this, but, you know, I was diabetic, I say was, and I wrote down, I took records of everything. I wrote down the diabetic levels. I wrote down what my blood pressure was. I took my weight. I wrote it all down and I checked it every single day. And the numbers just kept going down. The numbers just kept going down. And when I rang the doctor to get like a blood test to have a check, she's like, well, why did you do that? She was like getting a bit up herself. And I said, well, I couldn't do the program without checking if it was working. What was the point? If I kept taking the tablets, how will I know if it's working? Anyway, so for me, that did work. And I've continued it. I've absolutely continued it. The snacking has just gone. The water, if I don't drink it, I can feel myself dehydrated if I don't drink.
Well, I'm water.
Joe, I haven't even got mine yet, but yeah. And it was great. Transformation. I go out and I haven't walked much this last couple of weeks because I've got a sore ankle. But other than that, I'm out. So thanks, Joe. It was a transformation.
Well done, you. So you were you pre-diabetic before coming on the program?
Type 2 diabetic.
Right. So are you still so have you come off the medication now, or?
I have, but like I said, I check my levels every single day.
Fantastic.
Every single day. And so when I was telling the doctor that, and I said to her, look, you know, I'm doing intermittent fasting program. I've done it for 2 months and this, that, and that, and this. She said, oh. And she went back and checked my the last level. She said, it's definitely going down. She said, okay, well, continue it then. Do what you're doing and come back to me in 3 months.
Good. Well done. Well done. And this is what it's about. You know, I'm not saying there's not a place for medicine, and we never ever say.
This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying for everybody.
Yeah.
I have kept an absolute detailed account of my levels.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's no point in doing this and then coming off and getting sick, and you know, people just dropping by the.
I can see. I mean, look at you're glowing.
So yeah.
I can see you're absolutely a glowing queen.
So yeah, thanks, Eileen. So yeah, that's
well done you. Well done you. I've got another queen here, Sonia. Sonia King. Can you hear me, Sonia? You're not muted. Sonia King, I'm calling you out, Queen. I don't know where she is. She said she was going shopping. She was listening. She was going shopping. So I don't know if there's anybody else who's been on the program, please. Now is Millie. Is it the Millie? I think Millie was on our program as well. Millie Reed. Is Sonia King muted, Rudy?
No, I'm trying. Sonia, you could unmute yourself.
Yeah. No, I can't see her. Right. Any more questions before we wrap this up? Any more? Okay. What is your parting message, Joe? You're on mute. I think Rudy's muted you.
I've unmuted myself. Am I still muted?
Who's that speaking now? I think you've muted her.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Sonia.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Hello, Joan. Hang on.
So tell us. I know you're another fantastic queen. I haven't seen you for ages. You are glowing. Wow.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, I tell you what, this is my first day back in the government's plantation, as we're calling it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm masking up and everything. But yes, I've been listening. Believe you me, I got my earpiece on my ears while I'm working, while I'm looking after the students. I've been listening to the discussion as always every Saturday. But yes, I would like to share my journey with the intermittent fasting and becoming part of the women's walking group, the Queen's Walking Group. And it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm diabetic, I'm type 2, insulin dependent. And honestly, I've been diabetic for about 11 years. And this is the best I've ever managed this diabetes. I was told I'd be diabetic for life. Now, given another 6 months, there's a possibility I'm going to become insulin free if I keep up with the journey that I've been on since joining the Queen's Women's Group. And Joe Dash, your intermittent fasting is with me for the rest of my life. And I've listened to the last person who spoke and said, you know, the journey, the thoughts that she had about, oh my God, can I do this? I went through exactly the same thing. I cried sometimes. I desperately wanted to put a jam donut in my mouth. And, you know, I wanted this hot dog. I'm just telling you the things I love, I'm so glad IKEA was closed because I do love IKEA rubbish. Let me tell you, I literally go to IKEA for a hot dog. Well, I tell you what, let me show you what is what I travel with me everywhere I go. I've got this bottle of water and every hour I drink, okay? And my breakfast is, this is my breakfast. Whatever smoothie I could make, and believe you me, I can wait till 12 o'clock to eat. Look, my colleague is cussing me, telling me, am I going to work today? But you know what? I thought I'm going to take this time to show you all.
Thank you.
This is my journey, and this is my journey for life. And please, I've seen my HB1C go from 92 down to 50 soon after I've done this challenge. And I'm looking forward to it being 42. Right. I don't take as much insulin. I should take it twice a day. I only take it once a day. I've dropped my weight, although I'm a petite woman, but I did have a little bit of weight, and I've dropped my weight. And believe you me, the next time we speak, I'm hoping to say to you, I'm insulin free. I was told never. I was told that would have been it for life. So thank you, the Queen's Walking Group. Thank you, Joe Dash. Thank you for all the other events that I've been listening to every Saturday. All of these have inspired me to keep going. And I hope, there's many more of the listeners who's doing the same thing like I'm doing.
Thank you for that, Sonia. And I know it's been a struggle with the being diabetic.
It has been. It has. Honestly, it really has been. I just refuse to accept I'm a diabetic for life. I just refuse to accept it. And you know, I know the pandemic is an awful thing. It's taken people's lives and people is suffering and so on. But you know what? That has got me to really focus. That year away and my first day back to work today, after a year and a bit, it's got me to really focus on how I can help myself.
And it really is about, you know, like I say, you know, it's about waking up and accepting, you know, okay, if this is where you are, it's okay. Yeah,
it is. Okay. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Really, you know,
it's about stepping up now, and it is a challenge. It is a challenge. You know,
I mean, exercise is not my favorite thing at all. I'm a lazy sod, right? But how I love walking now. I know I don't say much on the chat, but ladies, I do walk. I really do walk. And I like listening and I like watching seeing all the pictures and everything, but I still do my walk. I have my lazy moments. And Mary, oh my God, Mary kills me on a Monday and a Thursday sometimes, you know, sometimes I miss it, but I still do some form of exercise. So thanks again, Mary. You're a star. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I look forward to Josie's sister. I do the steps with Josie's sister on a Saturday. Yes.
Yes. Oh, Josie was here. I don't know if she's still on the platform because Josie's been on the program. So it's really good to hear from people who have, you know, oh, she's gone now. She was here. We had that technical difficulty. So I'll probably take one more question. Sonia King. Oh, my beautiful Sonia. Where are you, darling? And when I say Sonia's on it, Sonia put into the group the smoothies for her and her king. She also posts her meals. Sonia, what are you up to, darling?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back from shopping. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi.
Shopping.
Hi.
Oh, welcome.
Can you see me?
Oh.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, fine. I started the challenge. I mean, I was reasonably healthy. I think Joe would quite agree. I was reasonably healthy and I just thought I would just try it. But I started intermittent fasting, basically the first webinar that Joe did. I thought, well, let me try a little something. But obviously I wasn't doing it in terms of having the fresh greens. I was having my breakfast, my usual porridge, etc., you know, starting in the morning. Anyway, I went on the intermittent challenge in February. My God, I've drank a smoothie every single day since February. Every single day since February. I've lost half a stone. I didn't need to lose any weight, but obviously all the rubbish that was keeping my body heavy has now gone. I've lost half a stone. I had hot flushes and I had them for years. You know what? The hot flushes have gone. They have totally disappeared. 100%. Seriously. I just, you know, and even so, even my skin looks amazing. I get more and more, I've got more and more energy. I don't walk every day, but I am an exercise girl. I do my HIIT classes every day like I normally did before pre-COVID. I cook, I do the smoothies. I do the meals for my fiance. He has them as well, whether he likes it or not, he has them. He hasn't actually doing the intermittent fasting challenge like I'm doing it, but he's getting the smoothies. He's drinking the smoothies every day. Even to the point where I remember I used to always run to the loo. This must be all the rubbish I was having. I'd leave home, I'd go toilet, I leave home, half an hour later, I'm looking for the toilet. I'm looking for the toilet. Now I can go out for 2 hours without even wanting to go toilet. I mean, I was drinking a lot of water. Sometimes I was even drinking 3 litres of water on this challenge. I mean, the transformation has been amazing. My mum of 80 in Barbados is on the intermittent fasting challenge. I mean, come on, anyone can do it, any age. But I have to say, props up to Joe and all his support, and Joan as well. It's been absolute amazing. But the rubbish that we eat, and the oils, I mean, I just extra virgin oil, coconut oil. I mean, there's not many aisles you can go down in a supermarket that's got rubbish. You can do a quick shop. Every Saturday morning, I go to Lidl's and get my fresh vegetables and stuff. Yeah, I'm in it. This is a challenge, but you know what? It's a lifestyle change for me. I can't believe not having a smoothie, because I've had it every day.
Yeah.
Even Saturdays and Sundays. I make it the night before, put it in the fridge. Got to have my smoothie at 12. You know, the blender's out there 24/7. The strainer to watch the vegetables is out there 24/7. I am on it 100%. You know, you've got to change, because clearly whatever you're doing, it's not working, but it works. Whatever ailments you got, it works. I had mosquito bites on my legs that had been there for years. Faded, gone. It's absolutely amazing. I'm sweating because I've just rushed back because I was trying to unmute on my phone and couldn't do it. But yeah, anyone out there, just give it a try. Just give it a try.
And that's what it's about, you know. And like you say, anybody can do it. And it's not about, you know, and people who have done it before and have fallen off the wagon, come back, you know. And it's also about, you know, do it, you know, get your friends involved. It's about our health. It's not about them telling us, you know, what statistic we are. Let us try and change that narrative. And we're going to be doing a lot more health stuff. You know, Joe is developing some courses, you know, because as we come out of lockdown, there's lots of things that we're going to be, that we would like to do is to move people on the same health journey. So, you know, I can say it works because, you know, my skin is improved, my everything is improved. You know, even like I had a piece of back that was madding me for years. Whatever inflammation there was in my body, and everybody's different, everybody got aches and pains in different parts, that is all gone. Yeah, still got a slight twinge, but not as kind of like painful as it used to be. So the reality is, you know, guys, you know, look about your health, look after all these things that you want to go and you want to travel. We're coming out of lockdown, you want to do this, you want to do that. And I'm telling you, if you don't have good health, you're not doing nothing. It can't happen. And don't wait to get sick, because no amount of money sometimes can help when it comes to sickness. Yeah. So we have had another fantastic morning on the Zoom Queen's platform. Wonderful. And we also have, there'll be other people who be, when Joe starts running the program, Joe, you're going to have Jen will be coming in as well, our herbalist in the hood.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. People don't know, check out Jen's, Jen, you here?
She's here. Can you unmute JJ Rudy, please? If you can say a quick hello.
Yes, this woman's knowledge on herbs and biology is incredible.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, my darling. Welcome.
Hi.
It's the first time you've been on the platform.
Yeah.
We're going to be sharing some wisdom and knowledge. Where if anybody who comes onto the program, there'll be a Sunday when you'll be talking to us about herbs. Herbs.
Yeah.
And how good the herbs is.
Yeah, big time. Because herbs are food.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're food. So, and a lot of us don't realize that they're food. They're very, very necessary to our bodies, because herbs are the first medicine. Because if you look at the earth is green, the earth is lush with herbs. So for me, herbs is everything. So yeah, I'll be diving more deeply into how herbs can help you with various conditions. You know, your menopause, diabetes, blood pressure, prostate, you know, impotence, low libido. There's a herb for every condition, just so long as that condition hasn't reached the point of no return. So yeah.
Give people your website. Where can they?
Oh yeah, my website is www.herbalistinthehood.co.uk. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, when you come on the program, I think one of the Sundays, isn't it, Joe? We're gonna have
we definitely will.
And
we
we're
definitely will.
Have Cheryl from Cakework, but she's not here this morning. No. So, Joe, what is your parting message? Because I can see time I run. And
So, what I would say to everyone is that, you know, make a conscious decision, commit to your own health in ways that reflect the true nature of your being. You know, you're people of the earth, you are people that understand, are deeply interwoven into nature. it's now the time for us to, you know, get back to what we do best, you know what I mean? Which is we create life in terms of our vibration, our frequency. We don't really practice this westernized way of living for sustenance. This is a whole new concept. So what I say to people is commit to yourself. I think this is about really understanding the scope for how we can really heal biologically, mentally, emotionally, because healing is definitely necessary before we can even start to embark on all the other tasks we are faced with as a people. So loving yourself, self-care is key, and healing is key. But in order to do that as well, you must understand who you are, what you are, and what you're meant to do when it comes to food. And that covers herbs, everything like what Jen was saying. And we are just pulling some of the best in our community to come and really present that information and the best way we can do it. So it's about commitment. It is duty-based. This is not about necessarily a feeling. This is about our duty. And once we focus on our duty to ourselves in our life, then we will start to see real transformation. Because until then, it's just a glorified procrastination. You know what I mean? And there's not enough money in the world or job in the world. You should be scared of losing your health more than losing your job. You know what I mean? So to be honest, it's about commitment is the word I want you to think about when you leave here. What am I committed to? Everybody's committed to something. Some people are committed to the excuse. Some people are committed to procrastination. Some people are committed to their own comfort. Everyone's committed to something. So focus on what are you committed to, and are they in line with the outcomes you want for yourself in your own existence. And when you get in this program, you're going to definitely learn about how addicted you are to the self-destruction of your biology. Like you're just committed to it. You know what I mean? And I want to get you away from that to explore more, because trust me, there's a whole world to explore about health that will really, really change your life, as you've heard from the women themselves. And this is, you know, voluntarily, you know what I mean? They're trying to explain to you, it's the work we're doing is on this level. And this is why we're grateful for people like Jen and others to come around and really explain to you what's happening with our people, because we're making such massive errors that's costing lives. You know what I mean? And when errors start to cost lives, we have to take a step back and recommit ourselves to the best version of our community. So I hope we start to look at our commitments and understand that health can't be down the ladder. It has to be at the top.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody. Love to everyone. Thank you.
So, Queens, if there's any kings on the platform, we start the Queen's Intermittent 30-day fasting challenge on the 1st of May. And we really want everyone who's able to, you know, who wants to make that change, who wants to have that better health. And it doesn't matter what stage you are in your health cycle. You know, we've had people who are diabetic, pre-diabetic. Come on board. Come on board. Oh, got Marcia McKeeber. Marcia, you know, I'm winding up. I'm going to take your question, my queen. You've got your hand up. Do you want to come in? Can you unmute Marcia McKeeber, please, Rudy?
Yeah, Marcia, could you put your hand back up?
Her hand's up already.
Yeah.
If
Unmute, please, Marcia.
You got a quick question, Marcia?
Yeah, it's just a quick comment.
Oh, can you unmute? You've gone on mute again. Unmute yourself, Marcia.
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there is a Zoom on this evening called Plants for Purpose. I haven't got the link. I can't put the link on here because it's quite long. I'm gonna send it to you, Joan, if you can send it somewhere. But
have you got a quick question? You haven't got a question?
No, I've just wanted to let people know about a Zoom this evening called Plant for Purpose. I think people might be interested.
Right, let me just unmute you then. Put it in the chat, yeah? Sorry, I thought you had a quick question.
Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, guys, sorry about that. So just to thank everybody for being on the platform. It's been another amazing morning. Apologies for the technicalities, but we got there in the end, so they say. So Queen's Walking Group, if you want to hear about future Queen's Walking Group events, please check out Eventbrite and follow us under the Queen's Walking Group. Then you'll get instant notifications of events that we're going to be doing. All right, so we've got a few more events coming up and we did them on a Saturday morning weekly basis. Also, please check out our YouTube channel, Queen's 2020 Lockdown Series. And we've got all the past Zooms that we've done. So please check that out. Really, really good. We've had some really phenomenal speakers come on the platform every week. So yeah, please check it out. We've also got a WhatsApp group. If anybody would like to join the WhatsApp group, please DM me, please message me. Yeah, and I'll add you into the group. So as we gradually move to do, we've got some events coming up, outdoor events, and we'd love people who's been in the Queen's community to come and get involved, come and join us. So on that note, I just want to thank everybody. So Queen's 2020 Lockdown Series on YouTube and Queen's Walking Group on Eventbrite. Follow us, like us, subscribe, share. Yeah, get on board. Thank you, everybody. And if you want to book, yes, if you want to book on, yeah, you go onto the Melanin Effect website and there are 2 codes. I'm just looking for the codes. So one is 30-day deluxe. I don't want to say this wrong. So can you give us the codes again, please, Joe? The chat is really busy, so I can't even find it at the moment. Right, so if you want to book on, there's a 30-day deluxe and then there's the 30-day VIP. It all depends on which one you want to go for. Yeah, so thank everybody for being on the platform this morning. You have all been fantastic. Thank you for the support. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. So next week, we've got Queen's International Black Hair Rocks, the Legends. So we had such an amazing response to the last session that we did. It was a little bit long, but it was very empowering. We're going to have the legends in hair, in the black hair and beauty industry, coming to speak to us again. And of course, sharing a wealth of wisdom and knowledge with the kings and queens that come up on the platform. So thank you, everybody. You've been absolutely fantastic. Have a lovely Saturday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.